bullshit, 1 minute on...
29 minutes of bullshit. How dare you?
Don't waste my time.
Are we here to talk bullshit? Let's start. This is an organic process. No need for fancy introductions, but first I'm going to ask you, who are you?
That's a deep question.
I know.
Yeah. I will start off by telling my name, even though it's not who I am. But
Good one.
it's what, how people can recognize me.
Yeah.
So my name is Nora Lindros. And I will tell, when I tell you what I am, I will tell what I'm most passionate about, which is art. So I'm an artist through life, and that can take different expressions in everyone.
Yeah.
For me, it's what is often referred to art, visual art. So that is my way of processing what's going through in my life, and how I meet other people is coming alive a lot in my art. And maybe that is something I will come back to and refer to, and this is how I relate to art in these places, if I feel inspired.
Okay. Thank you. So you said that you're not your name. I know that you and I understand that. But if someone were to hear it for the first time, what would you tell them?
I would tell them that I cannot be my name, because a name is only a word, in the same way as all these words that I'm using right now. It's not a part of me. This is communication. Communication is a separate thing from who I am, but I am capable of doing this. So there's so much things in this world, and please tell me if this is hard or easy to follow. This is how I view it, that there's so many things in this world, and I view myself as the conscious chooser of how I want to act amongst all these things that are presented to me, because there's so many things that I choose, and I could give examples of that. I don't choose that this sofa exists, but I can choose to sit to eat it. I can choose to observe if I enjoy it, and that's how I usually go on with my choices in life, that I continue on the places that I enjoy, and the places I don't enjoy, I don't blame them, but it just doesn't make sense for me to stay in them. And that's when I think of that, it reminds me of the conversation we had earlier about gray, the color gray, because that is a color that I don't enjoy, but I don't want to blame it for exist, because that is the part that causes suffering. But I also noted that if I were capable of remove gray from a painting that I'm looking at as an object, because this is not an individual, because when we remove individuals we have to take them into consideration how they feel about it, as you reminded me on how would you feel in that position. So it's important when it comes to people with feelings, less important when it comes to objects, but it's always a nice reminder to have in head.
Yeah. Would you say then when we spoke about that, when we act towards someone in a certain way, that we simply put ourselves in their position as if that's how we would respond toward ourselves, and to see how we would feel if that were the case? Would that be compassion?
I think when you act in that way and are aware that you're acting in that way, the first word that comes to me is considerate, but now this is just words. So I could use the word compassion also. It's just that I have a different relation with words. That okay, this word pops up so often when I have this certain emotion. So what you're describing right now, okay, I take that into consideration, which is a really deep form of compassion.
When you said that you're not your name, when you said that so many things are not who you are, how does one then recognize the you?
That is something, I'm faced with it now as you're asking this question. And it's something everyone is faced with when they ask themselves this question or they stumble upon it in any way. And I think it's very difficult for many people to face this question and to find an answer. And I think that is part of the problem, to immediately come into the, okay, I have to find an answer to this. That something goes fast, because I think people are used to live in an environment that has been traumatic or stressful, and then we respond in a certain way that
community, what did you experience?
In the community I was in, that was a completely new experience for me. Because I did grow up in a community in Sweden. And the only thing we shared there was the area, like the garden, kind of. There wasn't farming or any gardening in that sense, but a garden, a place to be outside. So that naturally brings people closer, that, okay, we have a common space where we're always around. And I think that's a huge difference to not have that. And what in Portugal made it even more relaxing in a way, because I think it's relaxing, at least for me, to be around people, live amongst people in a bigger area, because then you're always surrounded by people, but it's a big area, so you can always take your own space. So you can be in the forest. We were living in a forest, and you can always be alone. And if you go outside, there is always someone to connect with if you need that. And I think at first that can be or seem overwhelming for people, and it might be for some people. And it can be for me as well, at least in the beginning, because if you're used to be isolated, imagine a lot of people living in the city, we're isolated every day. Okay, a lot of isolated people wants connection. Okay, we start forming a community. If a lot of isolated people come together, then there'd be a lot of overwhelming, because there's so many needs to be met at once.
That is very true.
So that can be truly intense, too much for many people. But if that need is met so often, you will be around people that are calm, that are not searching that all the time. So you will be around, you will not be around with someone who is like, okay, I need to connect, because you just need to say it once and you will find a person to connect with. So there's no pressure of, okay, I have to make you happy every day, as we have to do if we are in a relationship in an apartment.
Right.
And it becomes a burden for only one person.
Right. When you speak of community, this is basically a group of volunteers that was at a farm? Or
this place was an actual community.
Okay.
And you can define that in different ways. So I will define how this precisely was. So it was not specifically volunteering at a farm.
Yeah.
There was a bit of gardening, but that was not the main common mission and purpose of the community. There were two clear purposes of the community. And one was to save and take care of the trees that were there. And what was so beautiful and easy about this mission, that it was really for the trees. It was not to make profit of trees. It was to really take care of them. So there is no one, not a single person that makes profit for one specific thing, but it makes the earth healthier. It makes one piece of land healthier. And if we make one piece of land healthier on this earth, we are steady and slowly making the whole earth more well. And to do that part together with people is really making you coming closer to the ones you are working with that on. So that was one of the main purpose. And I kind of embedded the other purpose in that, because the other purpose was to form connection, to see each other, because that's what we did there. And we find different ways to do that. By having sharing circles, and that was part of the work time. That's something specifically that touched me very deeply, that we care about this so much, and we care so much about that people show up and are feeling safe to express their emotion, that it's count as working time. That you're working on your mental health together, and it includes for everyone.
Would you say that these people were from all different kinds of backgrounds and ages that were in that community? Or would there be like a red thread, a certain category of people, if we could categorize people?
A certain red thread was there, for sure. It's was common. People from Germany and Netherlands were there, both because they can afford to travel a lot, coming from rich countries, and I'm from Sweden as well, coming from a rich country, made it possible for me. And there was a few other Swedish people coming back and forth there as well. And the people were normally around 13, 40 years old in this specific community, but there were definitely a variation of people from Italy, South Africa, Brazil, and other European countries.
Okay. What would you say about how human relationships are, and how did you experience them there, and was there something that really left a mark